Hello, shooters. Rachel Parsons, are you out there? There she is right there. How are you, Rachel?
Doing fine. How are you? Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy New Year to you, too. Now, you know, every now and then we get to look out your window and we either see snow, we see rain. What's going on out there today?
It's just cloudy, but they're expecting snow at the end of the week. It's been very cold here, about 20 degrees, so we're trying to keep warm. They're keeping us busy nonetheless.
Yeah, now, you know, I understand that through a previous conversation that Wayne LaPierre, your executive director, has written a letter. I assume that letter is going to come up in many of the magazines, but maybe you can brief us a little bit on exactly what Wayne is going to tell us about?
Sure. Well, Wayne wrote an op-ed for the Washington Times, and it was published on Monday. And in that, he just gave an overview of what's going to be coming down the pike in 2010. And some things that he discussed in this is, of course, we always keep on our radar screen calls for a renewal of semi-auto gun bans. We hear these renewal calls all the time from anti-gun congressmen and senators. And most recently, we heard something from the Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and also the Attorney General Eric Holder. We always keep an eye on that, and we feel like we're battling those kinds of bills every single year. But 2010 is going to be a monumental year for the Second Amendment. Now, in 2008, we all remember that there was a Supreme Court case called Heller versus D.C., where the Supreme Court ruled that the Second Amendment indeed is an individual right, and it's an individual right offered to every law-abiding American. Now, that court case was very narrow in scope. It only addressed the Washington, D.C. gun ban. Now, there's also gun bans in Chicago and other cities across the country. And so there is a new Supreme Court case that is going to be coming up in front of those justices in Washington, D.C. It'll be heard on March 2nd. And it's McDonnell versus the city of Chicago. Now, what this Supreme Court case will do, and I think we've talked about this several times, because this is huge news to gun owners all across the country. But what this will do is it'll address the application of the Second Amendment through the due process clause of the 14th Amendment. Now, for those of you and myself who don't understand legalese, what this means is that the Second Amendment will also apply to state and local governments. Excuse me.
No, sorry. You're busy, Rachel. So I know you're busy.
I'm sorry?
No. I was just saying that we understand the phone's ringing. You're a very important person out there, and I'm sure everyone wants some advice.
Sorry about that.
It's all right.
But what the issue is that several amendments in our Bill of Rights are already incorporated. The freedom of speech. You already have the freedom of speech in the federal government can't limit that, and state and local governments cannot limit that. The Second Amendment is not incorporated in the Constitution. So right now, the city of Chicago has a gun ban in that city, and they can do that right now. So this is what this Supreme Court case will address, whether or not state and local governments can ban firearms. We're looking very much forward to being involved in this case. We've already filed a friend of the court brief, and we look forward March 2nd. I mean, that's coming up so quickly. So this is something that everyone should keep on their radar. Oral arguments will be heard that day, and goodness, this is going to be historical.
Yeah, we're looking forward to a lot more information on that, and I know there's going to be some forthcoming information that we're all looking forward to hearing about. Now, in this letter that Wayne wrote, you said that was published in the Washington Times?
In the Washington Times on Monday, so on January 4th, Wayne wrote that. So you guys should go to WashingtonTimes.com, look up that op-ed, and it's very interesting. And there have been lots of interesting things coming out across, over the holidays. While everyone's traveling, everyone else is still working here in Washington, D.C., putting statistics together. And one of the most important statistics that we've seen come out are the year-end roundup statistics coming from the FBI that shows that murder and violent crime have those percentages have gone down dramatically. In fact, we're experiencing, if in 2009, when all the statistics come back, we're on a 10% decrease track. If that continues, it will be the crime will have gone down the most since 1960.
And in fact, it doesn't that, since gun sales have been higher than they never have been in the past, then it kind of flies in the face of more guns, more crime, correct?
Absolutely. You know, we hear all the time that, crime is soaring and, gun ownership is the cause of that. And that's absolutely ridiculous. What we've seen is that gun sales have increased. They've been through the roof. In fact, there were 14 million background checks performed in 2009. That's the most since the inception of the NICS system. It's huge. And what this means is that gun owners are going out there, they're voting with their pocketbooks, they're going out, they're buying more firearms, they are going through background checks, they're getting their concealed carry permits, they're enrolling in training classes, and crime is going down because now we have a way to protect ourselves. So it absolutely flies in the face of the anti-gun people out there who are saying that civilian gun ownership is why crime is going up. It's absolutely not true. And further villainizing gun owners is absolutely ridiculous, and it just does not, and the statistics don't prove that.
Right, and the nice thing about it is that it's put out by the FBI. This has not been put out by the NRA. We didn't say it on the show. This is coming from your Federal Bureau of Investigation. These crime statistics, if anyone has good crime statistics, whatever that word was, then it would be the FBI. So I think that's an outstanding report. And one that we all should be aware of.
Absolutely. We say all the time that when we quote statistics, it's always from the Justice Department or the FBI, because if it were our numbers and we were commissioning the studies, there would obviously, we have a political agenda and they would be construed as being biased. But it's not true. The numbers simply are not there to support gun control, and that's what the National Rifle Association is letting all of your congressmen and senators know.
Okay, good. And I think in one of the shows that we did last year, in fact, we touched a little bit on what the UN is up to, and I believe that was also addressed somewhat in Wayne LaPierre's letter, correct?
It was addressed in Wayne's letter, and there are these international bodies want to come in and govern and overrule our Second Amendment here in America, and the National Rifle Association won't stand for that. We've heard calls from top officials in the United States for the Senate to ratify international firearms treaties. We would never stand for that, and we will continue to fight against those types of treaties and those types of movements by international bodies. We've heard over and over by former UN Ambassador John Bolton the dangers of the UN and what they intend to do with the American Second Amendment, and we will keep abreast of everything that's going on and make sure that that doesn't happen here in the United States. We would never support any kind of international move to restrict Second Amendment freedoms here in the United States.
That's absolutely correct. I know we have a big year ahead of us. There's a lot of very burning issues out there, as I say, around the studio, and we're going to cover those with you week by week. Rachel, thank you very much for coming on. We'll see you again next week.
Thank you so much.